Welcome to the Southeast Retirement Planners Podcast, where we will go beyond the balance sheet with our guests, not only to share from our personal experience as financial advisors of over 25 plus years, but also to learn from our guests about the issues and topics that are important to them. Our firm specializes in taking care of the financial plans for individuals and small businesses by helping our clients identify their individual goals and taking a conservative and ongoing approach to helping accomplish them. We are located in Hickory, North Carolina, and look forward to continuing to serve our clients and our community. Thank you for joining us. We hope you enjoyed this week's episode.
Well, welcome, everyone. I'm Ryan Edwards, and we'd like to welcome everyone to the Southeast Retirement Planners Podcast. And I'm sitting here today with Jamie Eckard. He's a certified public accountant and been doing it for over 25 years. He's our guest today on the Southeast Retirement Planners Podcast. So welcome, Jamie. Glad to have you.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, we're coming today also announcing the formation of Southeast Tax and Consulting Services. And Jamie's going to be leading the charge and leading that organization. He'll be heading that, and it's going to be located in Moretz Mills as well in Hickory. Jamie, we're pumped to talk with you about the newest venture for you. Although you've been doing this for over 25 years.
Yeah, pretty much. I started in '98 with a local CPA firm. We did everything: inventory, audit, tax, financial statements, meeting with the board, and all those type things. So the services here we're going to talk about involve both individual and business as well.
Yeah. So, we're going to be putting on kind of a series associated with taxes and some of the services and really as our business has evolved over the years and the clients we work with, really what it comes down to, we love to, it's not necessarily what you get in your pocket, it's what you keep. From a tax standpoint, Uncle Sam, you don't want to be his best friend necessarily, and some of those calculations and knowing the tax code, it gets a little bit more elaborate and bringing on and having the ability to have a good relationship and speak and get some calculations firsthand from someone well-versed from a tax perspective is certainly needed. So we're going to dive in and kind of just once again want to thank you for joining us. And as we talk about taxes, many people associate taxes kind of with one date, if you will, on the calendar, April 15th. And we thought, this would be a good time to take a step back and kind of think about taxes differently, not just as kind of a one-time-a-year filing experience, but as an ongoing part of your financial life.
Correct. That's exactly right, Ron. Filing your tax return is reporting information that's already happened. A tax strategy is about looking forward or almost looking backward to what you've got, on hand, whether it's individual, whether it's business and those type things. And the goal is just not to how do I get a bigger refund? It's how do I avoid paying higher tax than the law allows. So that's the kind of things we look at in the planning, and strategy and planning are one of the biggest things that are involved in the situation.
Great. Okay. So today we're going to talk about through what it means to move from tax prep to tax strategy and how to coordinate with your financial and your tax professional throughout the year, and also some specific levers that you can you can talk through with your financial and tax professionals through the year, and things like timing, income timing, retirement plan contributions, charitable giving, Roth decisions, and then also estate and gift planning.
Right. And that's exactly right. And obviously we'll keep this conversational. We both work with clients on these issues every day. And the goal here is a discussion of ideas that matter most. Obviously from here, of course, everything we share is just general knowledge. And then it's, depending on what we discuss, it's always a good idea to get your current tax, legal, and financial team together, to consult on these as well.
Right. That's always something we want to make sure that everybody's aware of. Right. Many people we talk to listen to our podcast that we currently work with, but some don't, so we would always encourage you to do that. So let's start kind of with a basic question. When you think about taxes, you probably think of getting documents in the mail, sending them to your preparer, and then filing your return, and that is classic tax preparation. It is necessary, but is by definition backward looking.
Yeah. Right. And a lot of times at that point, we're working with history. We can make sure the return is accurate. We can take the deductions that are available, but most of your income and tax planning on that's already been done. You've already received the forms. You're handing those forms over without any discussion. We're really not diving down into the details of those types
kind
of
of those, the investment gains have already happened and losses have already have happened, and you're given, and your retirement contributions they're already in the books, right? There's nothing to be done,
right?
Yeah,
right.
so,
And the tax strategy is different,
right?
And here we're forward looking, on this. Think of an ongoing approach that connects your past, present, and future.
Yeah.
You're looking at your income, how much your assets are invested, where you have unrealized gains and losses, how much you're saving on pre-tax and after-tax accounts, and what you do, and what you want to do for family, charity, and all through a tax lens.
Yeah. No, that's a good point, because it's not necessarily it's forward looking. So certainly, as you kind of dive into this, I guess, and you say, well, I need to be a little bit more proactive with my taxes. If there's something that you haven't done in the past, you still need to get your taxes done first.
Correct.
For this previous year.
Of course.
But what I guess what we would try to convey is, maybe after having your taxes filed this year, the importance of maybe sitting down or trying to sit down with that tax preparer to have a discussion about some of the things that you can plan for and take advantage of in the upcoming year. So like you said, these are things that you can put in place for a multi-year strategy,
right.
A savings plan on your pre-tax and after-tax accounts, and what you want to do for your family, and maybe some charitable giving as well. So that's good. So it's multi-year, right. And it's a strategy. Yeah. So that's important. I think that a lot of times, and that's really the reasoning for our evolution and why we're wanting to be more involved in this area, right. of the tax planning.
Of course. Well, it helps on both sides too. And with keeping that independence, it helps on both sides. And it is multi-year planning. Mm-hmm. I mean, a lot of things like we mentioned before, there have already been done basis, the things that you've received the forms, as we mentioned before. But doing this is a way to maybe you might have to pay more tax now and this year, but it's a good way to save over 5 to 10 years, depending on what your plan may be. Now, this also involves businesses as well.
Yes.
So we also are going to do business, not just individual work, but business work. I've got some good knowledge and expertise as far as that goes, as far as mergers and acquisitions, any business issues like budgets, cash flows, and those type things. And what this does, it allows the tax to be paid over years. You may have an installment sale with a business. Well, it may be best to go ahead and take your gain, take your losses, pay your tax. Also, in certain things regarding the ordinary income and capital gains, depending on your income level in those years, you're subject to maybe 0% income tax or capital gains rate, 10%, 15%, and up to 20%, depending on how much you make.
Right. So those are key. There's a big difference between those numbers too, by the way.
Oh yeah,
that's a big difference, and it can certainly be advantageous. And knowing the tax code, having knowledge of it, and getting those answers and how to structure those deals. It's what you keep in your pocket. That's where it's not necessarily how much you get in the form of a check; it's how much you get to keep of that check.
Right,
in terms of a sale.
Correct, a sale of a business, right? Because you've got multiple factors. It could be an asset sale. You've got there. It could be a stock sale. Most people buying your business are going to want an asset sale. They get depreciation and things like that.
Yeah.
But it's a good way to offset depending on what's the ordinary portion of that and what is your goodwill portion, which is above what your asset value is. And those are key areas to save tax in those spots.
Okay. So kind of just if you're listening and wondering, just kind of sum up in this area, why should I care about tax strategy? The short answer is that your tax return records what's happened, and your tax strategy shapes what happens next. So that's why we want to have this conversation now, and while there's still time to plan for 2026 and beyond, rather than only reacting next spring. Yeah. So that's it in a nutshell. That's good. Just don't want to get in a game of trading documents, if you will.
Exactly. So, and a lot of times that's what it becomes, and people don't even know the tax strategy or planning is part of it. Yeah. It depends on what they have, obviously, and that's the last thing you want to do. Without the planning, you got surprises.
Right.
Surprises come questions, and those type of things. That's something we can mitigate by doing this earlier.
Yeah, the difference between being proactive and reactive. So that's let's kind of lay out some of the main building blocks, if you will. When we talk about a year-round strategy, we're usually working across a few key areas. So income timing, how and where your money is invested from a tax perspective, charitable giving, Roth contributions, and also conversions.
Right.
And that's something we'll get into and dive into a little bit later.
Correct.
But just that's one of the pillars. Also tax loss harvesting, and then estate and gift taxes for larger estates.
Correct. And I think of it as a menu, like you're going to a restaurant. You're not going to eat everything on the menu,
right.
But a lot of apply to every person, and they're different per every person. Pulling last year is the main thing for us, and that's what gets us started, is to really dive into the details you already have. It helps with tax planning this year, but it also goes forward to see what carryovers you may have and those type of things as well.
Right. Well, I tell you, we can really we can get into the weeds with a lot of this stuff, and we do plan on kind of biting off at this topic in little pieces, if you will.
Okay.
For the purposes of today, we wanted to really thoroughly explain the difference between tax prep and tax planning. So I think we've done that pretty thoroughly. But we do want to, in future episodes, we're going to touch on such things as that income timing.
Right.
And I've got some of these written down. We're also going to talk about tax advantage investing and some of the changes that came out with the Secure Act a few years ago, 2.0. We're also going to talk about charitable giving as a tax strategy. Then we're going to discuss Roth contributions and conversions, paying now taxes versus paying later.
Right.
And then tax loss harvesting and investment decisions. And then we're going to dive into estate and gift taxes, planning for what you leave behind.
Right.
And then we're just going to cover some of the avoid the common tax surprises and using a tax calendar, if you will. So those are some things to come in our tax kind of our tax series, if you will.
Right.
But for the purposes of the day, we're going to leave it there because we taxes is not necessarily a topic that you can spend a lot of time on and be able to retain a lot, we found.
Yeah, and with meeting in person, those type of things, we've got, the deductions and those type of things we can list out for you with a checklist. Just makes it a lot easier at the end of the day.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah.
So, as I said in the beginning, we're excited about the formation of Southeast Tax and Consulting Services, which is led by Jamie Eckard here, a CPA with over 25 years of experience. We are, as tax season has rolled around and is very close to here, as we film this, we're within almost 2 weeks or within 2 weeks when tax returns can start being filed.
Right.
And with that being said, the Southeast Tax and Consulting Services is open for business.
Right.
You can certainly reach out to Jamie at 828 218 1400.
1400,
Yep.
right. And extension 200 as well.
Yep.
On that.
So if you'll dial in, you can reach him at that number, and our staff will certainly guide and direct you and set up an appointment. Or if it's even just a time that you like to kind of get a second opinion on what you've been doing in the past, this would be a great opportunity to do so.
Correct. And we work with prior CPAs. If somebody come on, we work with prior CPAs very closely to make sure that we've got all the bases covered on that as well. So I don't want you to think you're just making a separation. You're also gaining a team.
Right.
From where we're at.
Right. Yeah,
and,
definitely. So we look forward to integrating with Southeast Retirement Planners to assisting our clients as well and helping with their personal situations and also facilitating any clients that need a change in their particular tax preparation services and implementing more thorough tax planning for our individual clients. So if you have any questions about your individual taxes, you can certainly reach Southeast Tax Services, as I mentioned, but then also by going on our website at seretirementplanners.com. we offer anyone listening to this podcast a complimentary financial checkup by calling in our office. You can talk to one of our staff members, and they'd be happy to set up a time for us to sit down either in person or virtually. So, well, Jamie, thank you for your time today, and we'll look forward to future conversations.
That sounds good. Thank you, Ryan. I appreciate you having me, and I'm really looking forward to it, individuals and business side of it too.
Southeast Tax and Consulting Services are not affiliated with or endorsed by LPL Financial. Tax preparation services offered through Southeast Tax and Consulting Services are separate and not affiliated with LPL Financial. LPL Financial does not offer tax advice or tax preparation services.